Hey, beautiful soul. I love you. Namaste. Hope you're well. And just to let you know, if no one's told you already, you're beautiful, you're divine, you're perfect. In the video I did yesterday, I talked about um, the concept of the master alchemist, okay, and the truth about who we are as alchemists, this ability that we all have to become the master alchemist of our own lives. My truth, my inner knowing, my gnosis around this is that we all have the ability to become the master alchemists of our own lives and craft this skill of mental alchemy where whenever we experience dark, heavy, toxic, violent energy, we are able to anchor ourselves, remain anchored in the present moment, in the divine, in unconditional love, and just slowly allow that energy to transmute itself within our energy field, allowing the dark energy to transmute itself. It's not even something that we consciously do. The divine is always transmuting dark energy into light energy. And you are the divine, all right? We all are aspects and fractals of the divine. And within every fractal contains the entire divine. Every aspect, you are one fractal of the divine. And within you, the fractal of you, contains the entire creation. The entirety of the divine is within you. That's how fractals work. If you study fractals, there's a really great book called Fractal Holographic Universe by Billy Carson. And chapter 5 talks about fractals in great detail. And you'll understand just by studying a little bit of fractals and even just looking at fractals in nature, in your garden, plants, mushrooms, things like that, you will come to understand, if you get interested enough in fractals, you'll come to understand that the way that fractals work is that everything is in everything. So everything is within you, okay? But in the video yesterday, I was reminding you of your ability to, of this skill that you have that you've forgotten, that spirit, which is your higher self, which is you, is trying to remind you of. Spirit and your experience, your environment, the experience that you're having right now at this time and your past experiences have all been guiding you to a place of deep remembering to help you remember that you do have this skill. It's not like it's a label that you are the alchemist, because the alchemist is just a role that you can play, because there are infinite number of other roles also that you could play. You might want to play the king or the queen or the Hierophant or the Joker or the Fool. You know, it's fun to play different roles. So you don't want to lock yourself into just being the alchemist and nothing else. But what I'm helping you to remember is that you have the skill, the ability to alchemize dark energy into light energy. So whenever you feel, whenever there's the energy of like mental illness that comes in the form of a wave into your energy field, and it affects your mind or infects your mind. Maybe you feel depressed, maybe you feel anxious, maybe you feel psychotic, maybe you feel like you're all these different people and it's just overwhelming, and it breaks you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and it leaves you unable to function, right? And everything's just a mess. I'm reminding you in these videos that you have the ability to alchemize. It's just a process of remembering. And how I do it, and I'm not like, I'm not amazing at it. I'm still learning too. I'm an apprentice alchemist, right? I'm still learning the craft, but I'm just, I have found it really helpful. It's something I still work at every day. But it's just, yeah, it works. It is working for me, and that's why I share. But I'm helping you to remember that you're the alchemist and that you're here And particularly if you're here having a tough experience, if you're surrounded by some heavy, dark energy, some violent energy, energy that you don't like. So that's a contrast experience, right? The universe or spirit is putting you through an experience that is a contrast experience, something you don't really like, something that's quite challenging for you and is going to cause you some pain. So if you find yourself in that situation, then just understand, if you would like to, if it makes sense for you, right, you can understand that you are this alchemist archetype, right? And you have the ability to be the alchemist and to alchemize the energy. So in those moments of contrast, right, there's multiple things happening, but one of the things that you're doing in those experiences when you're going through suffering and hardship is you are collecting the materials that you are going to transmute into light, the materials, the resources that you are going to use to create your dream life. It's energy, right? And that energy that you accumulate or absorb, or just you open yourself up to that energy, right? You are then going with that allocation of energy, right, that you have opened yourself up to, right? You've taken on the energy, some dark energy, right, in an experience that you've had or you're having right now, right? You're going to use that energy at the right time, in divine timing, right, to catapult yourself from this timeline, right, the timeline that you're in now, into the timeline that you would like to jump to, okay, which is obviously going to be a much higher timeline, more abundant, more love, more harmony, more joy, more freedom. That's the timeline that you want to jump to. So you have the ability. So I'm just reminding you that that you are an alchemist. You have that potential within you. And you are here on planet Earth going through tough experiences. That's why we come to planet Earth, to collect the materials so we can alchemize. Okay, and I just find that, if you're deep in the suffering, like planet Earth is full of suffering. We have little moments when we get our shit together and we might have a good little period and we've got some money and we've got, like, our kids have got a routine, we've got our own routine, we've got some hobbies, we're social, we're ticking all the boxes of like life, and sometimes we get it together really good and it feels like it's got a good balance, this life. But that's always short term. Like, nothing really means anything here on Earth. Nothing has essentially any real purpose or meaning. If we think about it, like, just look at the world and everyone's running around in the rat race, working jobs that they don't like for people that they don't like most of the time. Like, most of the stuff that I observe happening, I watch what happens in this world and I think there's no meaning, there's no substance to that activity that person is doing, and like, it doesn't mean anything. That person is just stuck in a survival loop, right? And so I'll talk about this soon, but the concept of creation is finished. It's not, when I say there's no meaning to like what really happens here on planet Earth, I'm not saying that as a negative. I'll help you understand that a little bit later. But everything you desire is within you now. So I mentioned fractals, right? If look into fractals, get a bit curious about fractals, but if you understand fractals, you'll understand that everything that you desire with your mind, so that dream life and everything in it, every relationship and every experience, exists within you now. That's how fractals work, right? There is nothing to be acquired, therefore. If everything is within you, there is nothing to acquire. So in planet Earth, action is really not the way to go about acquiring the things that you desire. And if all you're doing is taking action to go to work, to earn money, to create this business, to create money, to earn money, to fulfill your dreams so you can buy the things that you want, the experiences, the holiday, or a car, or a home, or food, right? It's very fatiguing. You're going to accumulate more and more fatigue. Your nervous system is not going to cope with action. That's aging. That's why we age, because we are killing ourselves every day just by taking action. The magic, the power of the divine is in the stillness. Now, I'm not saying you should never take action and just be still for the rest of your time here, because there's such thing as inspired action, which comes from the higher self, which comes from your highest burning desires, which you craft over time very carefully. You craft your burning desires. Spirit helps you. One of the ways Spirit does this is by holding you in contrast experiences so that you can understand very clearly what it is that you don't want, the energy that you don't want. Okay, Spirit will hold you in pain, and that pain will become imprinted into your nervous system so that you don't forget that feeling of that pain, so that when you do jump to the next timeline and you create this new life, right, this blank canvas, clean slate, you get to create this new life. You can build it on the rock instead of the sand. You can understand what your burning desires are. For me, it's love, right? Love, joy. So that's the key for me. If there's no love, then nothing means a single thing, right? To me, love is the only thing that has substance, that actually means something. So if there's no love, then I'm not going to build my life in a way. I will be very, very clear and aware that if love is not, if my actions are not creating more love, then I'm going to sever that activity. I'm going to cut it off. And in my new timeline, right, I am going to create it to be as perfect as I can possibly be. It's going to be full of all of my burning desires, and anything that I don't want there'll be a strong boundary. It'll be very clearly left out. And that's how you create that perfect timeline, your dream life. Now, maybe perfect isn't the best word, because you get, your next timeline, okay, it may not be perfect in your mind, in your eyes. You will likely make some mistakes, and we want to make mistakes because we learn from mistakes. So perfect may not be the best word there for, describing that next timeline, but it's just your next timeline that you get to have another go. And if you learn the lessons from the previous life or the previous timeline, so you might still be in the same body when you jump timelines. You don't physically have to die to jump to a new timeline. So there is nothing to be acquired. Everything is within you. Okay. And creation is finished. Let's talk about creation is finished. This is a concept, okay? This is how I see creation. This is my truth around creation. Creation is finished. So what does that mean? What does creation is finished mean? It means that all possibilities that exist for you exist right now have already been created. So an infinite number of timelines exist in the multiverse, an infinite trillions of timelines, different versions of you based off different choices that or possibilities that you could have entertained. So you could have become a builder. So there's a timeline with Ash the builder. There's a timeline with Ash the plumber. There's a timeline with Ash the accountant. There's a timeline with Ash the homeless person. In the multiverse, because this is a fractal holographic universe, right? Our inner world reflects our outer world. This world is a projection, a holographic projection of light and fractals. Okay, it's an illusion. In yoga, we call it Maya. Okay, and it's about the opportunity is to see through the illusion, to see beyond the illusion. It's like a little game here on planet Earth that we choose to play to come and have an experience because it's going to help craft our highest timeline, our dream life, in a way that is just so goddamn good, right? Like, if you follow this channel, right, and my teachings, or if you've been following me for a little while, then you have a burning desire to fulfill your highest timeline, the most perfect timeline that could possibly exist for you, right? You have a burning desire to reach your fullest potential, your highest potential. And your soul is very motivated and inspired and dedicated and committed to finding out and creating that perfect timeline for you. That is how much you love yourself, your soul. You as a soul love yourself so unconditionally that you are willing to do anything, even come to planet Earth and be put through all of these really low density experiences, these tough experiences, suffering, heartbreak, betrayal. Like, you agreed to come here to put yourself through all of these trials and tribulations because you knew it was going to help you to create your most perfect timeline. Okay? And so that's what it means by creation is finished. So every possibility that exists for you exists now within you, and there is nothing to acquire. So here on planet Earth, you don't need to go out and work to earn money, to buy that thing that you want. It's all within you, and it's all frequency. So your body and your mind, your brain is an antenna. Your ears are like receivers, right? And you tune into the multiverse, God's multiverse, using this antenna, okay? Just like ants have their little antennas and they're constantly cleaning their antennas so that they can plug in as deeply as possible to the divine, because then the messages come through really clearly and the ants know exactly like what their plan is, what they're doing, what kind of beautiful art creation they are creating in their little group of ants, their little families and whatever, their colonies. So they're very plugged in. So the ants are like a good example of how they use their antenna to plug in. And there's predators, like there's fungi, like that will come and infect the ants, and like, you know, and there's all these things that happen. It's very similar. So, but what we can do is, if we keep our antenna clean, and we do that by meditating, by clearing our mind, all right, practicing yoga, things like that, anything that will clear the mind, we'll keep the antenna clean. And then, right, you can plug into the divine and you can have some sovereignty over your frequency. As you become more still, your frequency starts to slowly rise up. The more time that you spend in deep stillness, connecting with the divine, in deep rest, allowing your body to heal, and not taking action based off of the ego. So if the ego believes that you need a nice house and car to be proved worthy in this world, to be seen as successful and to be accepted and to be loved, right? That's, the ego tries to trick us into thinking that we need certain things outside of us to feel loved, to feel accepted by society. And if we don't have these things, then we're not loved and we're not accepted by society, excuse me, and therefore the risk of death is very high. So there's a huge fear of death there for humans. And that's why humans work so hard and take all this action. It actually really overwhelms me when I think about all the 8 billion humans taking action every day. Even just in my city, I live in a regional city, 100,000 people. And just to think, every day, everyone wakes up and just goes out there into the world, into our little city, and does their things, takes all this action. There's action, action, action everywhere. Thousands and thousands of people taking action every day. And most of that action that I see is not aligned with the divine. It's aligned with ego. People are trying to acquire nice clothes, a nice lifestyle, a nice car, a nice home, nice holidays, their little family that's all neatly put together. But they're missing the point of love. There's no just being with each other. It's all about this stuff outside of people. And so if you study human psychology or just the people or just become a bit of a observer, most people you meet, right, including me, because I've done a lifetime of this. I'm in the period now of deep rest where I'm giving my body rest and trying to heal from all this egoic behavior. It takes a long time to heal yourself from all the damage that this does to your nervous system. It literally kills you, because it's literally what aging is. Taking all this non-aligned action from ego is literally what ages you, right? If you are only taking action, inspired action from the divine, so your highest desire comes up and you take action on that and create an experience where you create love with people that you love, right? And for me, and if that's the only thing you take action on is love, then love doesn't age you. You are not going to age. In fact, love, the most powerful force in this universe, which is you are love. Love is the divine. God is love. You will never age, and you will realize that you are an eternal, immortal, everlasting being of energy. You are pure energy. You are pure love, right? Just inhabiting your physical body for a short period of time. And you can remember that truth on a deep level. And when you do, your life will change very much. How you show up in your experience here in planet Earth will be very, 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 very different. If you're no longer taking action from ego or fear, right? You're no longer fatiguing yourself. You're no longer letting these people harvest your energy. Because when you're doing this, when you're taking all this egoic action, it's normally you're working for someone else, or someone else has you under their control. You've made an agreement with a boss, you're working a job, whatever. That person you are giving them your energy every single day that you're doing that, and you have that agreement in place with them. Every day that you have that agreement in place with that person, right, that arrangement that you have. And the only reason why you have that arrangement is because you think that it will get you the thing that you need to feel loved, to feel accepted and worthy in this world. And it won't. It just won't. No one cares about the stuff outside of you. People are only interested in what is within you, particularly what's in your heart and the frequency that you're resonating at. Do you understand, like, when you when you see someone in public that catches your eye and just gets your interest, you just are attracted to a certain person, it's because of their frequency. It's you're not, like, humans are very interested in other humans, right? And yeah, it's all the frequency. No one cares really what car you drive, what kind of house you live in. It's like, those things can be beautiful works of art that become a reflection of who you are and become a part of who you are. There's nothing wrong with material possessions. They will be a part of your experience and they will reflect your inner peace. They will reflect the love that's within you, right? It's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, saying you don't need to, like, any material possessions, right? But if you understand that they're all a hologram anyway, that everything outside of you is a hologram, it's an illusion, it's Maya, right? So it's not like what we necessarily think it is. It can all be taken away and it could all just dissolve at any time just to pure light and would cease to exist, because it's just a timeline that is a hologram, a fractal hologram. And you could go off to another timeline and it just doesn't exist anymore. And you could even just erase it from your memory if you don't like the timeline, if you don't want to remember it or certain parts of it. You can consciously erase it from your mind or just archive it, because it may not be relevant to the timeline that you actually want to live in next. So that's the power of the divine, the infinite living mind, the imagination, your imagination, which is the higher mind of God. It is literally the most advanced supercomputer that you could ever possibly imagine. And yeah, it is possible to create this highest timeline for yourself. But let's just cover what I spoke about in this video, okay? So, reminder, you are the master alchemist and you are here to collect resources, right? The lead, which you are going to turn into gold, okay? That's why you come here, to have these contrast experiences. Everything you desire is within you now. There is nothing to be acquired, okay? Because everything is within you. Creation is finished. All of the possible timelines, the infinite possible possibilities that could exist, all the things that you could have done, that you thought about doing, they exist on a timeline somewhere in the multiverse. There is trillions and trillions and trillions of timelines just around your avatar, your character, based off in these exist in the infinite living mind of God, right? The mental universe, the multiverse, okay? Because it's all mental, all is mental, the universe is mental, all is mind. That is the number one principle of Hermeticism. So creation is finished, okay? We live in a fractal holographic universe, and this is all an illusion or Maya. Okay, so I hope some of that makes sense. And let me know what you think in the comments. And I love you so much. You're a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful being of light. And You know, it's a tricky place to navigate, this life, and I don't know really what I'm doing here, like with these teachings that I'm sharing and just sharing my own perspectives. I hope that it helps. If it doesn't, obviously, it's fine. People can choose whether they watch my content or not. I just have to be careful because sometimes my content has recently got me into trouble sharing some of these teachings, into trouble with the law. I just have to be careful about what I say. But yeah, I hope that helps, and yeah, namaste, I love you.